Tom Saban coming to you from my sheltering-in-place office in Maryville, Illinois. Hope you're doing well and weathering this unprecedented circumstance in our country and of that matter, in our world. And I'm hoping to give you some information in this blog. It's going to be a little bit longer than normal because we're going to be addressing Notice 2020-18 that was released by the IRS last week. For those of you who participated in my blog of last week, I made reference to Notice 2020-17, which in fact did not extend the filing season or change the filing season. And I'm going to use that term change rather than extend because I don't want you to get confused with filing an extension versus the filing date having been changed. That being said, last Friday, I believe, IRS Notice 2020-18 came out, which in fact did change the filing date from April 15th to July 15th. And we're going to go through who is impacted by these, by the FAQs, frequently asked questions, that the IRS released on March 24th in order to address some of the more popular questions that are coming up. And I've seen these out there on the Facebook page too, so I think this is very pertinent information. I want to give you another caveat in my comments that I'm making here today. I'm not yet addressing the stimulus bill or the relief bill. I believe it's going to be called CURES or some kind of acronym to that notion. Once the House and the Senate come together, pass a bill, and then the president signs it. I actually want you to watch for some marketing we was sending out through Facebook, etc., or emails that we're probably going to put together a webinar because the last I saw, there was a substantial amount of tax legislation contained within this relief bill. But the point I'm trying to make of this blog today is that we're going to go through the frequently asked questions, and there's better than 20 questions, so I'll go as quickly as I can so I don't take too much of your time. But nonetheless, go through these questions and maybe it'll answer some of those that you have yourself and also for your clients. So the first slide we're gonna mention right here talks about Notice 2020-18, and it does change the filing deadline from April 15th to July 15th. Notice I'm not saying the term extended it. I don't want you to get confused there. And also we mention again that the IRS released the FAQs on March 24th, and then we also give you the web address where you can go look at these questions yourself. I will also tell you that on the PowerPoint slides that I put together for this blog, I took the questions right off the IRS website. I may give you some translation of what they have to say through my spoken word today, but nonetheless, the answers are coming directly from the link you saw for irs.gov. So let's go right into this. So question number one, who is eligible for relief under the notice? The answer comes, and we show it to you here on the slide, any person with a federal income tax return or payment due April 15th of 2020 is eligible for this relief. We say that a person, or the IRS says a person, includes a taxpayer with an individual, a trust. So 1041s would typically be due on April 15th. They're not due on April 15th. They're due on July 15th, calendar year. An estate, a corporation, C corporations typically have that April 15th due date, don't they? Well, in those calendar year C corporations, looks like we're going to July 15th. And any other type of unincorporated business entity, a Schedule C, an LLC, that's a disregarded entity filing as an individual. The payment due refers to both the 2019 federal income tax payments, I'm reading to you from the Q&A, including payments of tax on self-employment tax, and 2020 estimated federal income tax payments. We would have Q1 estimate would be due April 15th, wouldn't it? It's not due April 15th, it's due July 15th. We'll talk about the rest of the estimate due dates in a little bit when we get there. Okay, regardless of the amount owed. Now, that's the other change that came out of 2020-18. 2020-17 was talking about not a change in the filing deadline, but in the payment deadline to July 15th, and it was going to be limited, I believe, to $1 million. Now, that's been taken away by 2020-18. There is no limit to the amount of tax that is due. It has been changed from April 15th to July 15th. Question number two, do I have to actually be sick, be quarantined, or have any other impact from COVID-19, the coronavirus, to qualify for payment? IRS says no. You don't have to have any of these things. Just have a federal tax to be filed that would have been due April 15th. It's due July 15th. So this is not targeted to persons that are directly impacted by COVID-19. Let's go to question number three. It says, what are the forms of the specific federal income tax returns? I think this is very useful. Whose filing deadlines have been postponed or changed to July 15th. Answer, as we show you here on the slide, the 1040 series, 1041, as I mentioned earlier. There's 1120, our regular C corporations. Form 8960, 8991. And you might notice that I highlighted the last two paragraphs here. 990Ts, or 990s in general, which have that December 31st year end, they're not due April 15th. They're due May 15th. And guess what? They're still due May 15th. The other thing that we noticed just a few weeks ago, how quickly we forget. Remember how we were all scrambling? I know I was. And I wanted to see that March 15th, which turned out to be March 16th this year, date extended. It wasn't. So for our S corporations and our partnerships, those pass-through type entities, we at the very least had to file an extension. Remember my blog a couple weeks ago? We needed to get those extensions filed in order to avoid the failure to file penalty, $205 a month per partner or shareholder, up to a total of 12 months. So be careful there. If you blew that deadline, it happens to all of us, then you would be looking at trying to go ahead and get those returns processed as soon as possible. Those have not been extended. Remember, we're dealing with an April 15th due date. Very narrow focus as to the due date. So that's question number 3. Question number 4. If you've got a fiscal year filer, my federal income tax return for fiscal year 2019 is due April 15th, 2020. Am I an affected taxpayer? The answer says, yes, you are. It changes that due date from April 15th to July 15th, and you can read on from there. Question number 5. What about business or other entities that have filing due dates on May 15th, June 15th, or some other dates besides April 15th? What do you think the answer is? Guess what? Not an April 15th deadline? Not changed. No, any taxpayers who have a filing or payment due date other than April 15th have not been granted relief. Watch this, at this time. Stay tuned. This is always a fluid situation. It could change in a moment. Question number 6. Does the relief provided in the notice apply to payroll or excise taxes? So a lot of questions out there being posted by you folks on Facebook. Will we see an extension of the April 30th 941 deadline? The answer says no. Under the notice, normal filing, payment, and deposit due dates continue to apply to payroll and excise taxes. How about question number 7? Does the relief apply to estate and gift taxes, 706s? Remember, we just saw a few slides ago that any returns that are due on April 15th, like a 1041, are in fact changed to July 15th, but the answer to number 7 is no. Normal filing and payment due dates will apply to estate and gift taxes. Question number 8. Does the relief provided in the notice apply to Section 965H installment payments? Yes, it says. The relief applies to 965 installment payments due on April 15th. You can read that at your leisure. I'm not going to read all of these to you. Moving right along to question number 9. Does the relief provided in the notice apply to estimated tax payments for a corporation required to make payments under Section 59A? I've never heard of this one. Basis, erosion, and anti-abuse? The answer is yes. You can take a look at that if you have a taxpayer who is impacted. Question number 10. Does the filing provided apply to the filing of information returns? The answer is, again, no. And you see this kind of theme going through here, that we're only dealing with returns that are due on April 15th or had a due date of April 15th. Question number 11. I believe I saw a number of these types of questions posted on Facebook. I haven't filed my 2019 income tax return, which would have been due on April 15th, but I expect to file it by July 15th. What do I need to do? Nothing. There isn't anything required that your client do by April 15th. Remember how I'm using the term change in due date, not extension of due date. We don't have to scramble on April 15th to file extensions. The due date for those April 15th returns is now July 15th. We won't need an extension unless we can't get things done by the July 15th deadline. That was question 11. Question 12. What if I'm unable to file my 2019 return that would have been due on April 15th by July 15th? Here we have Peter the procrastinator who comes along, and now even July 15th isn't good enough. Looks like at least the guidance we have now from IRS, if you take a look at question 12 as it pops up there for you, we can file the extension. That would be our normal 4868 that we would file. But guess what, folks? This is one of the questions that I had. Would this give us till December? Nope. It's only taking us till October. Remember, this is a fluid situation. It could change. But the Q&A that came out on March 24th says no. You can file an extension. You don't need to file that until July 15th, but it's only going to get us to October 15th as we talk today. Question number 13. This again popped up on Facebook. I already filed my 2019 tax return that would have been due, and I owe taxes, but I haven't paid yet. What do I need to do? Again, nothing other than pay the tax due by July the 15th. Okay? Question number 14 also popped up. All right, I've already done my return. I have a balance due, and it's scheduled out there to be drafted from my bank account, or I've got an EFTPS payment scheduled for April 15th. What do I do? The answer tells us that the payment number one isn't going to be automatically changed from April 15th to July 15th. This is important. They'll still take the money on April 15th. Hey, maybe some of your clients don't care and just want to get it out of the way. But for those clients who want to wait until July, the IRS gives us the mechanism to either go in and cancel the April 15th scheduled payments, and there's also a phone number mentioned here on the slide that your client can call to change the scheduled date of that payment. So that was a popular question that came up on Facebook. Question number 15. Does this relief apply to state tax liabilities? Boy, this was one that's popped up a lot. Let me tell you, there is no requirement that the states must follow the federal due dates. They typically do, but I'll tell you, I'll put a shout out to my NATP friend, Cheryl Morris in Massachusetts, who put a posting on Facebook yesterday that said Massachusetts is not changing their due date from April 15th under the guise that they need the money. And a lot of states are in that situation. Here we are in the state of Illinois. As I know right now today, Illinois has not chosen to follow the change in the federal due date for the very reason that Massachusetts stated, and that they need the money. And we know Illinois needs the money. I will tell you that a couple of other collar states, Missouri and Indiana, have both changed following the federal due date. There's a link that IRS gave us here on this question number 15 slide. You can go to the link at the bottom to see what tax agencies have changed or are changing as we speak. Remember, a very dynamic, very fluid situation, and my comments could change in a matter of days. Remember, we've got a great big bill, $2 trillion bill, going through Congress right now. We've got agreement between Treasury, the President, and the Senate. It's got to come to a vote. Got to go to the House. They got to see what the differences are to present something to the President to sign. And again, we're going to do a webinar based on the amount of tax legislation I believe is contained within this. Let's move on. Question number 16. The notice postpones the deadline for the first quarter 2020 estimated income tax payment from April 15th to July 15th. What does that do to the second quarter estimate payment due on June 15th? According to the IRS, the second one is now due before the first one. So if any of you out there are fans of the Star Wars series of movies, you know that 4, 5, and 6 are really 1, 2, and 3 in terms of when they came out. So we have the same situation here. I know it's a really tough situation, but this is the way it stands right now. Could change tomorrow, but the April 15th quarterly estimate is due July 15th, but the second quarter estimate is due June 15th, so the second one becomes still the second one, but the first one is delayed, but not then thereafter. Guys, I can't make this stuff up. This is the reality of the question. Let's go on to question number 17, another popular one that was out there on Facebook. Does this relief provide me more time to contribute money to my IRA for 2019? Answer, yes. It makes the filing deadline. Remember, that was always the due date of the tax return, unextended due date. So remember, this isn't an extended due date. This is, in fact, a change in the due date. IRS says yes. IRA contributions can be made up to July 15th for last year, and they will be considered timely. IRS also makes a reference in this slide to publication 590, which I'm assuming is being updated. Question number 18. I owe the 10% additional tax on amounts includable in gross income. Is the due date for paying that additional tax also changed to July 15th? The answer is yes. And I'm going to give you this caveat. I do believe in the big bill that's going through Congress right now, they're trying to provide some relief from 10% withdrawal penalties. But as it looks right now, we know that that 10% additional tax is an additional tax on a 1040, is it not? So it's not due April 15th. It's also due July 15th. Question number 19. I made excess. I put too much money in my workplace retirement plan. Normally I had till April 15th to get that money out. Is that date also changed? IRS says yes, because the due date of the underlying 1040 has been changed. The date to get those excess deferrals out has also been changed to July 15th. Question number 20. For employers with a federal income tax due date of April 15th, is the end of the grace period to make contributions to their qualified plans on account of 2019 also July 15th? And the answer is yes, assuming that their due date is July 15th. If it's another due date, take an S corporation in the situation or a partnership. They were due March 16th, not April. So that extended date to make the employer contributions to pension plans would be September 15th. But this depends on, is the filing deadline April 15th? Question number 21. I apologize that I'm going through these really quick, but I don't want you to have to spend too much time on this blog, and we're already over 16 minutes. Does this relief give me more time to put money in an HSA for 2019? Answer, yes. So the HSA funding date, like the IRA funding date, was April 15th. Since that has been changed, HSAs can be funded for last year, also up to July 15th. Here's an interesting question, number 22. I want to file a claim for refund for 2016. So we're trying to get in to amend those returns within that 3-year statute, the window of opportunity, which normally would have to have been done by April 15th. Does this relief give me more time to file an amended 2016 return? You know what? It says here the answer is no. We have to get those done by April 15th. So it looks to me like, unless IRS changes their mind, those 2016 returns are going to close on April 15th, because the filing deadline has only been changed for 2019 returns. And think about that. I think that does make sense, because what is it? It's 3 years from the original due date. So the original due date of that 16 return was April 15th or April 16th, whatever it was, in 2017. So we go 17, 18, 19, 20, ding, 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 April 15th, 2020, that 16 return is going to fall off. So if you got anybody out there that's trying to get a refund done for 2016, they need to get those filed by April the 15th. Question number 23. We're getting down to the end here. Does the relief postpone the time for filing Form 4466, Corporation Application for Quick Refund of Overpayment of Estimated Tax? Never done this myself. Doesn't mean it's not out there. The answer from the IRS is no. Question number 24. I failed to make the required installments of estimated tax in the required amounts during 2019. Does this relief apply to the estimated tax penalty for 2019? And the answer is no. If those estimates were late, they were late. So, boy, this is a fluid situation going on out there. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize if I went through it really fast, but, I wanted these blogs to be quick hits for you during tax season. Hopefully you're out there working just like I am. You're having clients either drop off their information, you're not really having face-to-face appointments because of the sheltering in place, or just trying to be safe. And I hope that's giving you some more time, maybe a little breathing room during this filing season, and also with it being changed to July 15th. I think having these FAQs is very useful from IRS, but stay tuned. We got a lot more information coming out, and again, a very dynamic, a very fluid situation, and we will do our utmost to remain here for you and to work with you and get you through this together. So for now, this is Tom O'Sabin from the University of Illinois Tax School, sheltering in place in my office in Maryville, Illinois, saying we'll say goodbye for just a while.